Hello, this is Katie. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be making a card today with On the Beach from Fawn, their new summer release. I actually had stamped, we went up to go house sit for my in-laws briefly, and I brought up and stamped and colored using my Arteza Everblend markers. So I colored a few of them already with those markers. I'm adding some dots to the bear now with E29 Copic. And then I'm going to be coloring the rest of the images that I have die cut out that I didn't color yesterday with a mix of Arteza Everblend and Copics. I will show you each marker before I use it. So I colored a turquoise towel yesterday. I do end up using both of these in the card. I wasn't going to, but I was just going to color the towel for you again because I really like this color combo and it was really fun to color. So these are 3 Arteza Everblend alcohol markers that I thought blended really well for turquoise, as you saw on the towel. And then a fourth one, a fourth darker color I use for the lines in between. And I thought that looked really good as well. So then I'm doing the middle color turquoise and trying to go from the edge to blend that out. And then the third color, Arctic Blue, if I remember to show you, there we go, to blend the rest of it. This is the best blue that I found to blend out these colors. It is still a little light, but it blends just fine because these markers are very good at blending. I just spend a lot of time adding more to the middle to make it blend even better. And then I reach down to my Arteza case and grab another one. They call it Pine Green. I suppose it's kind of close when you put it down, but to me it's like a dark turquoise. A handful of the names they have given these markers appear to have appear to have been named by someone who was blindfolded at the time. I don't understand them, but that's fine. The one that says neon pink is definitely neon orange, for example. I am loving these markers. I do, however, as convenient as the case is, I don't need to travel that often with them, and I hate putting the markers back in their little slots, the little hooks. They're like stretchy bands that the markers need to go back in, and I don't like them. It's annoying. So I may just dump these in the shoebox that my Copics used to be in so that I can just use them freely. But anyway, I'm using a few pinks. I realize this probably looks like Pepto-Bismol, so I'm adding a turquoise top so that it doesn't, and a yellow sun. I was just trying to not make everything turquoise, and that ended up being pink. I probably could have colored it some sort of green or orange combo, but that's okay. So this 3 marker combo from my Copics I think is a really good foxy colored combo. So YR27 and then YR24. I have several notes on, not several notes, but a few notes on on my Copic chart in front of me, my hex chart by Sandy Alnock, where I've like crossed it out and I wrote need, like it was dried up or something, but the marker I have still works fine. So I either replaced it at some point and didn't notate it, but for YR23, the lightest one, I have it crossed out and it says need, but this was plenty wet and worked just fine. So I might have bought another one. I went through a period where I didn't want to deal with Copic refills. I didn't know what they were. I thought they were probably too expensive, and I would just buy the markers as I needed them at my local craft store because they were relatively okay price-wise. But now I am learning that refills are worth it and worth the money for sure. And if you find markers that you just reach for often, it's worth it to get at least refills for those. So then I'm going back with YR27 and adding some darker dots onto my little fox. His little pink ear is probably too light, but that's okay. So here I'm just going to kind of do rainbow colors until I run out on the umbrella. I'm just going to blend C3 and C2 for the umbrella stand, base, bar. What is that called? Umbrella pole? I don't know. The thing that I just colored. And then R29 and a nice light R35. I meant to do like a more flicking blending motion so this would look better. So I just spent a little bit more time on the red blending it out because I didn't give it like a flicking out pattern to blend out, which would have looked a little bit better, but that blended out just fine. And then an orange combo. I'm actually finding these as I go. That's probably what made this video so long, so I sped it up. So I'm doing more of a flicking and then blending that out with Y38. And then I find I'm using black to just color the little nub on top. And then finding a yellow combo, Y08. I love Y08 and Y06, but I was trying to branch out a little bit, so I did Y08 and I believe Y02, which is kind of light, but it actually worked a lot better than I thought it would once it blended out. So that worked well. And then I love the salad marker. I try to use it whenever I can. And the one right above it or next to it, I think above it on my chart, is Y03, which might be getting a little dry on me. I probably could have added another darker shade of green and then blended again. But that's okay. And then B04 and B12, I believe. There we go. The Copic sketch are easy to see because I can see the number in front of me where my Copics are stored. But if I'm just looking at the color cap, I have to pull out a bunch of them and make sure I'm pulling the one that I'm looking at on my chart that I want. So that is my umbrella. I've colored all the pieces that I need. So now what I'm going to do is I didn't want to have to find a pattern paper or just use blue, and I was gonna, this actually turned out better than I was intending it to be. I was just trying to do a blend. I ended up going with the brush side, not the chisel side. Trying to just do a blend of blues, and then I was actually going to use the Stitched Windy backdrop die cut. After I cut it out of my stitched rectangle that you will see me do in a second, I was going to put some wind in it, but it actually looked really cool when I left it alone. So what I'm doing is I'm going to cut this out, and I do pause for some of this. I just cut that out and then ran it through my die cutter. So I set that aside, and then I'm making like a sand combination. So I'm using E35, E34, and E33. E33 is literally sand, so I figured it had to be in this combo somewhere. And then I'm just going over all of it so it blends a little better. And I hate doing this to my Copics, I really do. It uses a lot of ink, and I smush the paintbrush part, but I don't really do this ever. And it's also not wide enough for what I was going for, so I have to add some more to it. But I think this turned out really cool, and I end up adding texture later with markers and my white pen to the sand. So I cut this out of the stitched rectangle to be the bottom half of it, and then I also cut out a white, I don't show you, but I cut out a white stitched rectangle, and then I end up not needing it because what I'm going to use, one of the new wavy border dies in the new release, I used the largest waves, and I'm using that actually for the sand. So I'm kind of measuring where my blue runs out, and I stick down the wavy border, and I'm going to die cut that. But then I realized I would have to like negative die cut the blue, so I don't end up using that white backdrop. I just put the sand on top of the blue. So I'm going to stick that down, and that worked out better anyway. The dimension was just fine. So I'm just going to stick that down with my tape runner. And then I'm starting to kind of set up a scene. I didn't have anything in mind. I just kind of did this as I went. So what I'm going to do is use my foam tape and mount this to the card first, because I do want to hang some of the, like the umbrella off the edge, and I want to make sure it doesn't go off the card totally. I was showing you the scissors because I just got these yesterday. I went to Michael's and I used like Michael's coupons and Joann's coupons, and they accidentally scanned another one when she was trying to tell me I couldn't use another one, and then she gave me the $5 off anyway. So I ended up leaving Michael's with a little mini haul. My husband did the math. It was supposed to be like 59 bucks, and I left for 27 after all the sales and coupons, so I thought that was cool. I got those scissors for half off. I'm not in love with them. I thought they would be better for detail cutting, but I think I still like my cutter bees. Unfortunately, I'll try and get used to them. Let me know if you have these scissors. They're Fiskars, but you're supposed to really use more of like the tip. The tip is for detail trimming, but I don't ever really make it to the tip of the scissors because I'm trying to use it to cut out something, if that makes sense. Let me know if you have those, and maybe I'm using them wrong. I don't know, but they're cute and they're teal, so I thought I would use them. And then I also got a set of paintbrushes, and just cheap ones, and then a Strathmore Bristol Smooth pad and a Strathmore watercolor pad. I got all 4 of those things for $27. I thought that was a steal, because the Strathmore pads right now are buy one get one free at Michael's. So if that's still going on, you should definitely go get that. So I wanted to hide the umbrella behind something, and I wasn't gonna dig up my sand, and this looked good anyway, because the umbrella is supposed to be in the sand. So then I just lifted up the towel on foam, and then my fox was facing the right way, so I put him on this towel. But I wanted to include the bear in the scene as well, so you grabbed my other towel, which I wasn't planning on putting on this card, but it was going off of the edge of the card. So what I do, and I end up moving that, I'm calling it a Mai Tai. I don't think Mai Tais are orange, but that is what I'm calling that drink. So Mr. Fox is having a Mai Tai. So I don't want this to go off of the card, so I end up pulling it and just chopping off the corner that's running into the foam tape under the fox's blanket towel, and just hiding it under there, and then it's coming off of the card a normal amount for me. So I stick that under there so you can't see that I chopped it off. And then I'm just not lifting up the bear to give it some dimension. So he's just glued down, and the fox is up on his foam tape towel. And then I'm going to put the SPF just right there. But I do want to lift that up on foam tape. There's a point here soon after I put this down where I'm paused. Thank God. I'm paused at the time. But I jostled my janky setup of yardsticks with my phone on it and dropped my phone onto my open black ink pad. Luckily, it hit the case side of the phone and not the front of my phone. So I just used an alcohol swab and wiped it all off. But I was scared for a second that I did some damage. So I'm just glad I didn't drop the ink pad on my card, which I have only ever done once in my life, and I will never do it again because I never want that feeling again. So it was before this, while I was paused, I dropped my phone on the ink pad that you see right there. And then what I'm covering up, if you'll notice, my phone fell on the card first and dented it because there's foam tape behind it. So I am gluing down the beach ball. I didn't quite want it there, but I'm gluing it down because the dent is so bad and I can't fix it. So I have covered the dent from my phone that fell while I was recording, but while I was paused. And so you can't even tell. So I'm adding brown dots for sand with E29, and then I go in with my white pen and I add a bunch of white dots, and it looks really cool actually. And then I add my white accents, which I still suck at, but I'm practicing and getting better, I think. I don't know. So I go in with my white. This is just easier than spraying it off of a paintbrush, using markers and just dotting with the white pen than trying to deal with acrylic paint and brown ink mixed with water. And I think it looks cute still. So I'm adding accents wherever, I don't know. These are pretty terrible, but that's okay. The one in the umbrella, I wish I had done better. You'll see it's not very good. I'm also having to move my card around so I'm not smearing all of the white accents I've already done. And then the fox tail, and then I move it around and I try to do the umbrella like backwards. I think that was my problem with my right hand. It didn't end up looking very good this direction. But anyway, this video is about to end. So that is the card for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another video. Bye.